It could be true. It might not be, but it could be. But if that's true, in his world, in his culture, that's ethical business behavior. From a common sense person's point of view, a drug company paying highly skilled media folks to take the information about the drug and create the illusion, the emotional impact, and the takeaway message for viewers of advertisements that grossly exaggerate the benefit of the drug and minimize the harms. It's sociopathic behavior to have viewers of ads leave the ad with an unrealistic impression of the benefits and harms of the drug. And yet he's playing by the rules. He's doing his job as CEO to maximize the effect of his advertising. And if he doesn't do it, this is a key point. If he doesn't do it, he'll get fired and the next guy will.
Mm-hmm. So the people that survive in the company, the people that get raises in the company and move up in the company are the ones that play by the rules. And that's how the game solidifies itself. But the game is within the bounds of the law.
Sometimes, most of the time, not always.
We'll return to that question. I'm actually more concerned about the effect of advertisement in a kind of much larger scale on the people that are getting funded by the advertisement in self-censorship, just like more subtle, more passive pressure to not say anything negative. Because I've seen this and I've been saddened by it, that people sacrifice integrity in small ways when they're being funded by a particular company. They don't see themselves as doing so, but you could just clearly see that the space of opinions that they're willing to engage in, or a space of ideas they're willing to play with, is one that doesn't include anything that could possibly be negative about the company. They just choose not to, because why? And that's really sad to me. That if you give me $100, I'm less likely to say something negative about you. That makes me sad, because like the reason I wouldn't say something negative about you, I prefer, is the pressure of friendship and human connection, those kinds of things. So I understand that. That's also a problem, by the way. So to start having dinners and shaking hands and, oh, aren't we friends? But the fact that money has that effect is really sad to me. On the news media, on the journalists, on scientists, that's scary to me. But of course, the direct advertisement to consumers, like you said, is a potentially very negative effect. I wanted to ask if what you think is the most negative impact of advertisement. Is it that direct to consumer on television? Is it advertisement to doctors, which I'm surprised to learn I was vaguely looking at is more than the advertisement? More is spent on advertising to doctors than to consumers. That's really confusing to me. It's fascinating, actually. And then also, obviously, the law side of things is the lobbying dollars, which I think is less than all of those. But anyway, it's in the ballpark. What concerns you most?
Well, it's the whole nexus of influence. There's not one thing, and they don't they don't put all their eggs in one basket. It's a whole surround sound program here.
Yeah.
But in terms of advertisements, let's take the advertisement. Trulicity is a diabetes drug, for type 2 diabetes, an injectable drug. And it lowers blood sugar just about as well as metformin does. Metformin costs about $4 a month. Trulicity costs, I think, $6,200 a year. So $48 a year versus $6,200. Trulicity has distinguished itself because the manufacturer did a study that showed that it significantly reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease in diabetics. And they got approval on the basis of that study, that very large study being statistically significant. The ads obviously extol the virtues of Trulicity because it reduces the risk of heart disease and stroke, and that's one of the major morbidities, risks of type 2 diabetes. What the ad doesn't say is that you have to treat 323 people to prevent one non-fatal event at a cost of $2.7 million. And even more importantly than that, what the ad doesn't say is that the evidence shows that engaging in an active, healthy lifestyle program reduces the risk of heart disease and strokes far more than Trulicity does. Um, Now, to be fair to the company, the sponsor, there's never been a study that compared Trulicity to lifestyle changes. But that's part of the problem of our advertising. You would think in a rational society that was way out on a limb as a lone country besides New Zealand that allows direct-to-consumer advertising, that part of allowing direct-to-consumer advertising would be to mandate that the companies establish whether their drug is better than, say, healthy lifestyle adoption to prevent the problems that they claim to be preventing. But we don't require that. So the companies can afford to do very large studies so that very small differences become statistically significant. And their studies are asking the question, how can we sell more drug? They're not asking the question, how can we prevent cardiovascular disease in people with type 2 diabetes? And that's how we get off in this. We're now in the extreme arm of this distortion of our medical knowledge of studying how to sell more drugs than how to make people more healthy.